bench when Reva threw a flag on the play over a late-night text she felt was inappropriate.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. Yeah, we're here talking to you guys about, Kerry and Reva on the Reunion show. And the reason why I'm talking about them is because I want to talk about the litmus test, which I think is very, very important, especially going into 2020. So guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe for those who returnees. Listen, you ain't got the minerals, baby. Listen. The guns are always flexing, baby. Listen, are you ready, lean? Listen, if you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, get out. If you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, Chile, get out, mate. You know what I mean? All right, boom-tastic. Listen. So, yeah, I was talking about Kerry and Reva. Now, obviously, I did a video when this first initially came out, and there was obviously an issue between the two of them. We mentioned about the body language between the two of them, etc., etc. But something that was obviously interesting, which was picked up, was the litmus test.
Well, that was a litmus test. I intentionally sent you that text because I wanted to see how you're going to respond.
That Kerry described, and I found it quite interesting because obviously quite a lot of the cast were laughing and bantering the fact that obviously Kerry had done a litmus test with Reva, whether it was they were laughing because they didn't understand what litmus test is, or whether they're laughing because he's an older gentleman doing a litmus test. I don't know what they were laughing for, but they were laughing at something in regards to Kerry. But in regards to myself, just kind of watching things, I guess, progress through the whole thing, I think Kerry made some very good points. And some of the points are quite interesting because, like I keep saying, when people are playing a game and they want a certain thing from you, when you don't act in that way, they act out. It's just natural because what they wanted, they can't get it, and so they throw their toys at the pram. Yeah? And that's what Reva did, because we saw Reva literally throw Kerry underneath a bus. Yeah? Like underneath the bus, bro. Boom. You know what I'm saying? In the wine cooler or wine cellar with the girls, right? She literally tried to come like Kerry's just like nasty dude, and the girls actually defended Kerry in there, right? And I guess maybe because it was coming from Reva and the girls don't particularly like Reva, I think as well. That may potentially play a part in it. But I think the main thing was just the fact that it's the way she came with the information, and also as well, I think. Her game playing was clearly shown and evident. And I think I made this when I did an original video between Kerry and Reva, which is that Reva in the reunion tried to state it like, she was so surprised that, he made this point of view.
Your mind after you got that text.
You know what?
What shifted all of it?
I was blown, simply because Kerry and I had never spoken to each other in that way.
That he sent that text because they were just talking good morning messages, and then got this text out of the blue, etc., etc. And for me, I do understand what she was saying because it was out of the blue in terms of the conversation we're having. But she seems to forget she started this conversation when you were in the mixer, which I think was in a more public space, and you state that there's one of three things you like doing, which one of them was sex. He was quite explicit with that.
Right? That's stress reliever. It's stress reliever. It feel good. Church, right? The shooting range, and a good nut. Well, that's me touching myself, right? Those are my stress relievers.
You know what I'm saying? Basically, you like it when you're getting you're getting hosed down. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So you stated that in an open play of conversation from the very early day dots. So if I then reply later on with a sexual bar and a joke, why would that be out of the context of what we're speaking about? The only reason why it would be out of the context of what we're speaking about is because you are in control of proceedings. And I see this a lot of times, especially with males and females. Males do it a lot. Women also do it a lot. Yeah, and I'm not talking about the sex. Maybe not the sexual things. I think girls might do it a little bit less in terms of actual speaking sexually, but girls do it in a way of flirting. So they might, flirt with you, physically touch you, whatever, especially in a physical environment. And the moment you try to apply, hey, stop. That's not what I'm asking for. And it's like, why did you start the game then if you don't want to be touched back? If you touch somebody and they touch you back, why did you start the game? And the whole point is this: I can do it, you can't, because it's about what? Power and control, as I told you guys in the beginning of the season. And very often when we're playing the game, we want to have the rules the way we want to have it. We are the conductor of the train. We don't want you to conduct the train. You understand? So with Kerry and Reva, you saw that Kerry mentioned this, that he said, listen, the reason why he sent the litmus test in the first place was because, you know, he wanted to test out the reaction. And that is what litmus test actually does. It tests out the reaction. Because if I'm correct, a litmus test is for things like alkaline and acid, right? So it's to test out the reaction. Is it alkaline or is it acid? Are you feeling me or are you not feeling me? And this is what we actually, in fact, a lot of us do this in our day and age. When we send certain texts, certain men say, when am I coming over? Like, or they text like, when are we grabbing food? Now the question actually really isn't when are we actually grabbing food. The question is, what are you going to reply? If you reply like, I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not really sure, and you try to play it off, we now know you're not in favor of having food or even having my time, because we understand that somebody who wants you wants your time. Do you get it? It's a part and parcel. So girls and guys do this all the time, you know, and we send you might send a flirty text to a person you like, and you see what response you're going to get back. Now, if you get and I've always said this, like, in most cases, especially for females, they're not going to flirt with somebody they're not feeling attracted to, except when they're playing the game. Do you get it? So here's my thing. And someone might say, well, we're quite flirty. Some girls are just quite flirty. Yeah, you're playing the game. That's the whole point. Yeah, same way guys play the game. Because I've seen it in situations where you could be flirting with a girl, messaging, text back and forth, and then you try to take it onto a physical level, she blocks it. Why? Because the level of her game is, I don't want to get physical, because she feels like she has no control if it gets physical. Right? Or two, she doesn't find you attractive, bro. It's that simple. That she's gonna allow that physical. She don't mind flirting with you on a text basis, on a call basis, but the moment it gets physical, I can't flirt with you on that level because I don't find you attractive on that level. Yeah? If she allows it sometimes, she could be thinking, because actually, you know what, I might find you a little bit attractive. I don't mind. There's something about you that I find a little bit, Or it could be the fact that, again, she's just weaning you into the game. You get me? Or she genuinely likes you. Do you get it? So there's not many options. So these are all litmus tests that we actually do. Yeah? We do it all the time. When you say, listen, for instance, you might hear this at work, or you might hear this with somebody. And don't start that kind of conversation, because me, yeah, if I get into that, yeah, listen, it's long for me and you both. Or you might say something like, it's like, alright, that's like, wow, you touch me like that again, see what happens, you know, it's gonna move mad. Now, what is that? It's a litmus test. Why? Because what I've said is, touch me like that again, and know what I'm gonna bring to the table. So the person's giving the opportunity to make sure, hey, are you sure this is what you're meant to be doing? Alright, if you do it, just know I'm about to enter the game as well. Do you get it? Litmus test, because you're trying to decipher. A litmus test is deciphering what type of reaction you think you're going to get. Is it going to be a favorable one or an unfavorable one? Yeah, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. And in fact, if you're on Twitter quite a bit, especially UK Twitter, I don't know if you guys have come across Aloni, but she's like a sex therapist kind of person, and she tweets quite a lot on different things around sex and stuff. And one of the things that I remember her doing a lot of times was these kind of tests where she like text your man or text a friend that you need to, like, for instance, let's say you need to borrow £500 because your account got defrauded or whatever, and see what they say, right? It's a litmus test, because what you're actually testing is what the reaction is going to be of the person, right?
Say some like that to somebody, you know what I'm saying? What's really on his mind?
Do you get what I'm saying? One of the tweets one of the things they did was shooting your shot. Telling the person, oh, do you know what, I'm really, really feeling you, like, let's see what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But the person might not necessarily mean it. See what reaction you get from the friend, right? It's a litmus test. And actually, it made me think, if you ever send that to your best friend, your best friend of the opposite sex, what would they say? You see, the response if you sent a text to your best friend, yeah, who's of the opposite sex, saying, listen, I really want us to have a relationship, blah, 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 or even, look, I just need some sex. Like, let's get this cracking, popping. The reaction of that person should let you know whether they really are truly 100% your friend. When I say truly 100% your friend, meaning that they can still be a friend and they can feel a certain way towards you. Don't get twisted. There's type of friends, if you want to call it that. But whether it's a totally platonic relationship, if they can answer and say, listen, no, I'm not interested in that, and you genuinely in your heart also you're not interested in that, then it's a platonic friendship. But if you know that when you're asking, oh, like, you know, I would love to see if we can kick it, blah, blah, and they said, yeah, I'd love to see if we can kick it, in response.
Explain to us why you sent that text.
So it actually was a litmus test. I wanted to see if she would take me out of Cat Daddy zone, or was she really feeling and wanted to know Kerry. And once again, this journey is not how I normally operate at all.
Right.
And so I wanted to check real quick to see. I wonder, am I getting what we call, quote unquote, futured?
He said, obviously, you know, he used it to decipher whether he'll be futured or not. And this is one of the reasons why people even use it. But when people use it often, it's to reveal the position of the individual person. Yeah, I've said this about PEW, pew, about the position, expectation, wants. I must first reveal your position. So a litmus test is almost like a sonar that is beeping to kind of reveal the position of where you are. You know what I'm saying? Where we send a little bait out there, see where the animal is in the water, or the shark is in the water, wherever the mammal is in the water, whatever. Yeah, that bait that we send out there is to assess who's out there, what their response is. Yeah, then you use it to test the favorability of that. So if someone responds to that, then you know, oh, okay, so you're interested. Because I know, listen, the reason why I know who likes me and who don't like me, you know what I'm saying, of the opposite sex, I know straight away, you know what I'm saying? And if I'm not 100% sure, I do a litmus test anyway. We all do it, yeah? You drop a local bar and you see what the response will be. Like, and I know, people, look, this is why I say I observe behaviors. Even in the office, or even when you're around people, whether they're married or not, yeah? You can tell when someone likes somebody or feels attracted to somebody. They may not want to progress it further, but they're attracted to somebody. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many litmus tests that people do in that place or in a setting that we never realize it's a litmus test that shows people this. Certain things that people say and do, you know what I'm saying, can cause that issue to be brought up to the light. Just saying, yeah. And oftentimes litmus tests can be used to lock people in. Because guys especially use this as a thing. So, be like, hey boo, how you doing? Just want to check up on you, make sure you're doing good. It's a temperature check, yeah? So want to see how you doing good. So like, are you free this weekend? The girl might be like, yeah, I'm still free this weekend. And he may not even want to go and meet her this weekend, but he just needs to see, is she ready, still ready, and not, is she still able to be available for him? Not making it, because the moment she starts making excuses saying, I'm busy, and never wanting to reschedule, he knows that he's probably lost that girl. Yeah, so man them do this to lock the girl in, like, you know, I'm thinking I might be coming down this weekend. Girl be like, oh, okay, well if you're coming down, then you know, let me know, blah blah. Then he might check out like, sorry, my bad, I couldn't come down this weekend because I was a bit busy, He's temperature checking, yeah, litmus testing if you want to call it that. Guys do it all the time. Oftentimes, well, it's to kind of see as well, just how much the person feels you as well. So sometimes you might have to do more than one litmus test to kind of just see where that person is. Do you know what I'm saying? Litmus tests can be all sorts of things. For instance, I know that, I know certain people that I can have a conversation with, and I know some people I can flirt with. I know some people that bro would invite me to the crib, and I could stay in the yard. I could be in the same bed, and I don't want to do anything. They don't want to do nothing. Okay, probably shouldn't say that on camera. But I know that, do you know what I mean? I know who that is because I've litmus tested it, because I have had a conversation with them, I've put it in there. And you know the best litmus test is when you say, look, in the future we're going to have great kids, you know. And the girl responds with, well, what kind of kids? Once she buys into that idea, it's a litmus test.
One way or the other, you know. So
what does futured mean?
That means sometimes a person may have much stronger interests other places, and you could be put on hold.
That's kind of like a back burner.
Yeah, it can kind of come back around to you. And once again, it's a judgment call.
Do you think
that is the greatest litmus test there is there? If I come around there, you know what I'm going to do to you. It's a litmus test, because once you reply with something positive, he now knows you're on it. If you reply, no, that is the end of the litmus test. He knows you're not available. You're not available. And you know, and something that obviously Reva mentioned was that, you know what, like she was turned off after that from the text from Kerry, because it was like she wasn't sure whether he was trying to get to know her. And I was like, I don't see how you can be turned off. That's a lie, because you started the conversation of having sex. So when he then put the litmus test there, it should have been a case of, sure, I think we misunderstood each other. That was all.
Reva.
Yes.
Seemed like you really like Kerry, but what went through your mind after you got that text?
You know what?
What shifted all of it?
I was blown, simply because Kerry and I had never spoken to each other in that way.
You know, and when he explained it, I think that's where she realized, oh, this guy's playing the game too. Oh, no. I got played by someone who's playing the game just like I'm playing the game. Oh, no. You know, because at the time when he said it, and he explained it, you know, her face was like, what? She couldn't believe it. But the truth of the matter is, it was a litmus test. It really was. It was to make sure that you actually freed me. And if you're not, then fam, call it A. But normally the litmus test, you don't admit that you've made a litmus test. You just kind of say it. And that's the thing I think Kerry messed up with. Number one, he explained it was a litmus test. That was an issue. Once she didn't respond the way he needed to respond, he should have said, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. My bad. Yeah, that was a bit of a crazy moment. And see what she's gonna say from that. Once she says something that doesn't save it, bruv, you move on. Do you know what I'm saying? I like I said, we litmus test all the time, right? You see how someone's energy is moving. You send a message, see how they're gonna reply back to the message. Are they willing to respond to that message? You can kind of see the energy's really off. Maybe not. Leave it alone. Do you know what I'm saying? But Kerry's unfortunate thing was that he explained it as a litmus test, which then made him look like he had an ego, which then obviously for her, she was playing her own game as well, let's be honest, then realised, okay, she's been bested. That didn't make her feel like she wanted him more. That made him feel like, okay, I felt stupid here. I've tried to best him and he's bested me. It's time to bow out. Because that wasn't her rich, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, although she made it look like Kerry was the one that she was looking for, she wasn't looking for Kerry. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Who on the first thing starts admitting they want to have sex like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who admits that on the first real go thing? You feel me? She knew what she did. She set him up nice and cold. The reason why Reva even was still playing with Kerry really is because it's what I call, you know, trying to get the votes. Because, you know, you got to make sure you have enough people that support you and vote for you. I think that was her original thing. When she clocked that my man's overstepping the line, like I said, a lot of girls do this where they abort. The guy's gone too far, abort. Yeah, and it becomes very abrupt. And that's what we saw from Reva. It was a very abrupt end. And then she tried to throw him underneath the bus. That very abrupt end is because of the nature. The really abrupt end is because of the fact that she saw that he was no longer under control and he had moved out of the zone from where she left him. Because she wanted him to do a specific job. Because why she was able to do that is because of what I call it beauty capital, or you can call it beauty leverage, or beauty is a purchasing power. But beauty allows a certain amount of leverage over the opposite sex. It gives you a leeway over certain members of the opposite sex. If you're beautiful enough to the individual, they are willing to wait, and they're willing to give, I guess, some credence to an idea that they potentially may get something in the future, even though at the moment they're not getting nothing, right? It's a bit like a businessman who you think you've seen, has a smart suit, dressed well, always seems to have money on them, buying always expensive stuff. You see all this stuff, and then when they say to you, listen, look, they borrowed some money from you, I'm going to pay it back to you, don't worry. You give them extra leeway because you've seen something. You've seen their great life, etc., blah, blah, blah. And same with a beautiful girl. Certain guys have allowed a loan to be taken out of themselves for a time and period. So what she was using was the leverage of her beauty, hoping that potentially she can keep him in a certain place for a certain amount of time. And then when she was ready, like he said, futured, she could then use him for whatever purpose she had. Whether that would be a relationship, whether that be, you know, to make someone else jealous, whatever it was, that's what we do. And it's scary, but it is the truth. A lot of us do it, and we do it unconsciously. Yeah, we do it unconsciously. It's just the way it is, baby. Things will never be the same. I think obviously towards the end you just see that obviously when he's explaining again in a reunion that was a litmus test and why he did it. You know, Reva's face like she don't understand why. You know what I mean? But it's like Reva, what other explanation was there gonna be? Like he just wanted some sex from you. I don't know if that's what he really was wanting, but I think you've projected that on to him just because he made that litmus test. And I think it was very clear he made a litmus test because once he explained it after, like once he said it, he actually outed himself. Do you know what I'm saying? Once you out and say that was a litmus test to kind of see where you're at, it could be a case of rationalization, which is a self-defense mechanism, which is to explain away something that can't be explained, but you try to explain it away. But because we know the game and we know what happens, there is litmus tests that people do all the time. So I think Reva, tried to play, and in the end she got what she wanted, which was Mario. She didn't really want Kerry, and that's just the truth of the matter. So it is what it is, they say. So yeah, interesting facts and figures. Yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts down below in terms of the Reva and Kerry situation. Let us know your thoughts. If you disagree, if you agree, comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Let's have a discussion. Let's see what we're going to say. But yeah, Little Black Book, you already know what time it is, baby. Hey, Maddie Lean. Appreciate you guys.